The advice Venus Williams gave Alexandra Eala before her U.S. Open debut. Alexandra Eala and Venus Williams are set for a cross-generational doubles match at the ASB Classic. Eala will team with fellow rising star Iva Jovic, while Williams will begin a brand new partnership with Alina Svitolina at the New Zealand event. Both women will also play the singles event at the ASB Classic, with Eala set for a clash with Donna Vekic and Williams preparing for a match with Magda Linette. Williams and Eala have never crossed over on the WTA Tour before, but the American did offer up advice for the 20-year-old when she was about to make her U.S. Open debut. Venus Williams' advice for Alexandra Eala ahead of the 2025 U.S. Open. Speaking at her 2025 U.S. Open press conference, Williams was asked whether she had any advice for the rising Filipina star. Eala was set to make her U.S. Open debut against Clara Tauson, following a breakout performance at the Miami Open. The 20-year-old reached the semi-final of the Masters tournament after defeating Iga Swiatek, Madison Keys, and Yelena Ostapenko. Williams offered up the advice, just enjoy yourself. When you're having fun, things are easy. When you're not, it's not as much fun. You have to put the fun first. Eala would go on to win her maiden Grand Slam match, beating Tauson at Flushing Meadows in 3 sets. The rising star became the first Filipino player in the Open era to win a singles main draw match at a major, so the advice clearly worked. Alexandra Eala's 2026 schedule has been locked in. Eala has already locked in for a hectic January schedule following her first tournament of the year at the ASB Classic. After playing both singles and debuts in Auckland, the star will head to the Kooyong Classic in Melbourne between January 13th and 15th. The star will then compete in her very first Australian Open main draw, having fallen at the qualifying hurdle in the last 3 years. If the star does not make the second week of the first Grand Slam of the year, she will compete at the maiden Philippine Women's Open in Manila for the final week of January. Embracing the clockwork of joy, Venus Williams' advice to Alexandra Eala before her U.S. Open debut. In the world of elite sport, where pressure, expectation, legacy, and history swirl like a storm, 2 generations of tennis talent converged at a singular, crystallizing moment at the U.S. Open. On one side stood Alexandra "Alex" Eala, a rising star poised to make her main draw debut at one of tennis's grandest stages. On the other stood Venus Williams, a living legend whose own journey through highs and lows, triumphs and reinventions has carved her name deep into the sport's lore. So +1. Before Alex stepped onto the hard courts of Flushing Meadows, before the first serve, before the nerves could take hold, she received a simple but profound nugget of wisdom from Venus. It wasn't tactical. It wasn't complicated. It wasn't about analytics or technique. It was about something much more elemental: joy. The moment before the storm. Alexandra Eala's journey to the U.S. Open main draw was already remarkable. A former junior Grand Slam champion, she had ascended through the ranks with a mix of talent, tenacity, and belief. Along the way, she broke barriers, becoming the first Filipino woman to crack the WTA Top 100 and carry the hopes of her country into tennis's global spotlight. U.S. Open. Yet, entering the hallowed courts of Flushing Meadows, a place where dreams are realized and crushed in equal measure, even the brightest stars can feel the intangible weight of expectation. For a young athlete on the brink of her first major main draw appearance, the moment was more than just a match, it was a rite of passage. Enter Venus Williams, a veteran of countless tennis battles, a 2-time U.S. Open champion, and a woman whose longevity in the sport defies conventional boundaries. At the press conference preceding her own participation that year, Venus spoke not only about her love for the game but also about the advice she offered to talents like Alex. Just enjoy yourself. When you're having fun, things are easy. You have to put the fun first. So, the weight of words in a quiet mind. To the casual observer, this advice may seem almost cliché, a feel-good sentiment offered by an elder statesperson. But in the context of high-performance sport, where every movement is dissected by coach, media, and fan alike, joy often becomes the first casualty. Recreation turns into obligation. Passion bends under pressure. The flame that once burned brightly flickers in the wind of expectation. Venus's words carry deeper resonance. Joy isn't a reward for success, it's the foundation of it. For someone like Eala, talented, ambitious, and driven, the advice to put the fun first isn't about dismissing her goals or minimizing her competitive spirit. Instead, it reframes the internal dialogue from "I must achieve" to "I get to play." It invites her to remember why she picked up a racket in the first place: the thrill of connection with the ball, the dance of movement on court, the pure, unfiltered love of the game. Why joy matters on the biggest stage. Joy, at its core, is not frivolous. In the psychology of performance, it plays a critical role. 1. Reducing tension and anxiety. When athletes focus solely on outcomes, scores, rankings, titles, pressure compacts within their bodies like a tightening spring. Joy, however, loosens that spring, allowing the athlete to breathe, to think clearly, to trust their training rather than fear the moment. 2. Enhancing creativity. Execution under pressure becomes adaptive, spontaneous, and intuitive when joy leads. Instead of overthinking a stroke or strategy, players respond fluidly, trusting their instincts. 3. Sustaining motivation. Fun is the alchemy that turns discipline into delight. It's the reason athletes wake up before dawn, endure grueling sessions, and return to the court again and again. Without it, the fire burns out. With it, tenacity becomes a joy rather than a chore. Venus, someone who reinvented her game, pushed through injuries and doubts, and continued competing at an age where most athletes have retired, knows this truth intimately. Joy wasn't just her emotion, it was her strategy. The echo of encouragement. When Venus shared her message with Alex, it echoed far beyond a simple press conference soundbite. It was a passing of the torch, an invitation for the next generation to carry not just the skills of the sport, but its spirit. Her words became a lens through which Eala could view her own pursuit, not as a burden to bear, but as a moment to embrace. In the days that followed, Alex didn't just step onto the court, she blossomed there. In a stunning display that electrified fans and made history, she went on to win her first Grand Slam main draw match, becoming the first Filipino to do so in the Open era. Her victory wasn't just about statistics, it was about belief, joy, courage, and the freedom that comes when you let passion lead. Herb News. The dialogue between generations. The narrative of tennis, and sport more broadly, is often portrayed in terms of rivalry and competition. But there's a subtler, richer story happening behind the scenes, a dialogue between generations. One that passes down wisdom not captured in data charts or technical manuals, but in lived experience, emotional resilience, and human connection. Venus's advice to Alex.